Call this meeting to order. Please note, all those that are attending tonight's meeting should be aware that the meeting is being audio and video recorded by Air Public Access and ASRSD. Any audience members who wish to record any part of the meeting must inform the chairperson who will announce the recording. This is to comply with the Mass Wiretap statute. The listings of matters are those reasonably anticipated by the chair, which may be discussed at the meeting. Not all items listed may, in fact, be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law. Per the Air Shirley Regional School Committee Policy BEDH, public comment is not a discussion, debate, or dialogue between citizens and the school committee. It is a citizen's opportunity to express an opinion on issues of school committee business. Citizens will have 3 minutes to express their views. Any staff members addressing the committee are reminded of their obligations under state and federal student record law with respect to maintaining the confidentiality of student record information and refraining from disclosing any personally identified information regarding students. With that, I think everyone will rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Town, if we want to do a roll call.
Mr. Bresnahan?
Here.
Mrs. Kennard?
Here.
Mr. Flinty?
Here.
Mrs. Rishu? Here. Mr. Rufer?
Here.
Ms. Van?
Okay. With that, our first agenda topic is our student showcase. The Page Hilltop Elementary School, Principal, Ms. Bonnie Faulkner.
Good evening, thank you. I have several students with us today. They're in first and second grade, and they're going to come up, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what they did, and then they're going to share their presentation. So I'm going to ask Addie Colello, and Anna King, and Calvin Bird, and Brody Schmicker to come on up. And you guys can see right at the end of that table right there. You have the laptop with Addie's thing? There you go. Great.
Mr. Chair, can we record the children?
Oh, of course, absolutely. Please do.
So Addie would like to start today. So Addie is in first grade in Leah Crutchfield's class. And all of our first grade students did reports on animal habitats. They did research, they wrote papers, which Addie has with her today, and they created like a diagram of where that animal lived and what their habitat was. The entire cafeteria, when they did the presentations, was decorated with all of the different habitats. There was under the sea, or like under the ocean. There was safari. There was desert habitats, jungle habitats. So I'm going to turn this over to Addie Colello, and she'll talk to you a little bit about what she presented on. And she's brought a picture of what her habitat looks like. So we're just going to turn that around so everybody can see.
Save my desert away.
Yeah.
I have a book to you to share today. It's about the blue wonderful butterfly. This is the table of contents. First, it's introduction, habitat, books like food, and about the author. Do you want to learn about the blue wonderful butterfly? Blue wonderful butterflies are amazing animals. Blue wonderful butterflies live in the rainforest, stay up in tree canopies unless they are looking for food. The blue morpho butterfly are one of the largest butterflies in the world. Wingspan is 5 to 8 inches long. Males have blue. Females are shades of yellow, black, and brown. It uses its feet and legs to chase food. Did you know blue morpho butterflies have adaptations that help them survive in the rainforest? They have brown spots under their wings that help them camouflage. They can also fly very quickly. Blue morpho butterflies are Herbivores, they eat plants. Blue morpho butterflies eat plant mud. Blue morpho butterflies are very strong flyers. There are 30 kinds of butterflies. Are very interesting animals. About the author. Addie is 7 years old. She is in 1st grade at Page Hilltop. Addie has a dog, dad, sister. She loves puppies. Addie wants to be a singer, author when she grows up.
Thank you, Addie. The other 3 children are 2nd grade children, and all of our 2nd graders did biography research projects. They researched a person, they wrote about the person, and then they also created a presentation and they put on a wax museum. So families and other students went into our Cultural Arts Center and they were able to learn about whoever the people were that presented. So I'm going to let, we have Anna King, Brody Schmidtberg, and Calvin Bird here to present. And I'll scooch this stuff over to the side. And you can just stand right over here, honey. All right. Okay, Anna, you want to go second?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Claire Barton. Did you know that I learned different languages, made the American Red Cross, and was in the a nurse in the Civil War? Would you like to learn more about my life? All about Claire Barton, childhood. She was born in North Oxford, Massachusetts in 1821. Her brother David fell off the barn roof. She took good care of him for over 2 years. Education. She went to Clinton Little Institute College. She liked college, but she missed her home. Why is she famous? She is famous because she found the American Red Cross and she was a nurse in the Civil War. 3 important facts. She made the first school in New Jersey. She had over 600 students. They called her the Angel of the Battlefield. She helped locate soldiers after the war. Timeline. Clara was born in North Oxford, Massachusetts, 1812. Clara takes care of David. Clara becomes a teacher, 1839. Lee becomes the Little Red Cross. Clara dies in 1912. All about the author. I love history and dogs and making new friends and love playing Roblox and making new videos on YouTube.
Calvin, would you like to go next? All right.
Henry Ford had 2 sisters and brothers. He grew up in Michigan. He left school at 15 or 16. He made cars. He made the first car called the Model A. He said failure is the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. In 1908, he came up with the Model T. He created a moving assembly line. This was the first automobile assembly line ever created. Each worker added a different part to the car until it was finished. Timeline. July 30th, 1863, Henry Ford was born. In 1903, Ford started the Ford Motor Company. In the early 1900s, only rich people could afford a car. In 1902, he invented the 999 car. April 7th, 1947, Henry Ford died. About the author. Calvin is 8 years old. He likes to ski, climb, and surf. His favorite color is blue. And when he grows up, he wants to sell candy.
And our final presenter is Brody Schmidberg.
Benjamin's childhood. Did you know Benjamin learned how to swim at age 7? Not many people learned how to swim back then. Why is Benjamin famous? He was a scientist, a printer, and an inventor. He invented the lightning rod, the rocking chair, the glass harmonica, the Franklin stove, and the bifocals. Important facts. He wrote Poor Richard's Almanac, and he helped write the Declaration of Independence. Timeline. Benjamin is born on January 17th. Benjamin gets married. Benjamin stopped working in the print shop in 1748. 1775, he helped write the Declaration of Independence. In 1790, Ben died on April 17th. All about the author. My name is Brody and I'm 8 years old. I love to help the teacher in color. I'm in 2nd grade. That's all about me.
Does anybody have any questions? All right, thanks guys.
Great job. Thank you so
great
much.
Great job, you guys.
We will make sure to send the school committee an invite to this next year because it is rather impressive to see this in the Cultural Arts Center at Page Hilltop. All the kids are going through this multiple times in a hour block. It's great.
That'll be great. Okay. So for our student representative, Colin Holbrook. Mr. Spencer.
Hi, thanks for having me here tonight. I'm thrilled to be here to present a rising junior to the ASRHS student representative to the school committee with returning member and upcoming senior Colin Holbrook, who did a wonderful job this year. At this time, I have the pleasure of introducing the junior student representative to the school committee, Miss Oluchi Obeson. Ms. Obeson is the president of her class, 2027, and has been an active member of not just the volleyball team, the soccer team, but also the robotics team. Ms. Obeson is someone who will not just enchant you with her 100-watt smile, but with her wit, her wisdom, and her ability to connect with everyone around her. Speaking of connections, it is a goal of Ms. Obeson's to spend the next 2 years making meaningful connections with her community so that these talents are a place that she will wish to return after graduation. Ms. Oveson's favorite high school class so far has been environmental science, where, for a project, she followed a Barbie doll's lifespan from creation of the doll to the time it ended up in a refuse bin. Her favorite teacher so far has been Ms. Capasso, whose infectious energy and passion for her subject make each class memorable. Thank you, Ms. Oveson, for representing the high school as our junior representative for the 25-26 school year. Thank you, Ms. Oveson.
I guess I'll start off now. It's going to be weird that now that Nia's gone. So the biggest thing that's been going on right now is that for track, that just came to an end. We won the state title as a team, and I was also happy about my individual performance. I was able to get 8th place in the pentathlon, which I didn't really start training for until like the end of the year anyway, so I was just really happy I could even like place. The AP tests have also concluded now, which are, it was really stressful, but I'm glad we got through it, and I'm hoping that I got good scores. I'm confident, but I like how now that the tests are over, I really get to, those classes are like fun. We're doing like fun projects, like in physics class, we were just seeing like how far things could roll. I don't know, it's a lot of fun. And I've also been continuing my job at the Pleasant Cafe, and over the summer, I hope to pick up another job at Dick's, just being like a sales associate, I think is what it's called. And hopefully I can use some of my sports knowledge to actually help in my job. And Mr. Christie asked us what our hope for next year is. And my biggest thing was win another state title on a sports team, because that was just, I've never done like anything like that in terms of like a team sport, and that was just like, it was an amazing feeling, and I'd like to experience that again. And I also don't want my senioritis to hit. I plan to make it through senior year strong, and I hope that I can continue how junior year went.
Hello, hi everyone. This is my first night, so kind of nervous, but I'm grateful to be in this position. I'm grateful to have this opportunity to talk to you all. For the spring, I was really excited because I was able to take environmental science, which is an AP course, which wasn't really offered to sophomores, but I got into the class, which is great. I'm excited to see that test score too. I think it comes in July, which is great. And then next year, I know I'm going to be taking a lot of APs, bio, lang, and AP Euro and history, and I'm really excited. Hope for me, hope for the best. For soccer and volleyball, I'm kind of deciding whether I want to do soccer or volleyball next year. And for the summer, I'm hoping that I can volunteer at my mom's hospital, St. Elizabeth's. It's in Boston, around Boston area. And I would love to work at Dunkin' Donuts, so I can hopefully buy myself a Volkswagen Beetle. Yeah. And then for my hopes for next year, I'd love to start a small little sister team with the robotics team, which is an all-girls based team, so that we can introduce a lot more girls to robotics, which I think would be really cool to have. And
That'd be great. Comments, questions?
Hey, Colin, you doing any power skating or summer work?
For the environment, for like
No, Colin, for skating, for hockey.
Yeah, I have a
skate?
couple of like camps over the summer. I'm also gonna do just like a summer league team.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just like hoping to. I gotta stay on the ice.
There you go.
It's like you lose everything if you don't keep it up throughout the year. So I gotta try to stay on top of that.
Excellent.
Good. So Colin, congratulations on 8th. If I recall, I think you won states by 1 point.
It was 3. But yeah,
It was 3, yeah. So
Yeah, you put it down now. That's
no, but I mean, obviously,
yeah.
getting those points got the state championship. So congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And welcome very much, Ms. Alucci. That's great. Have you talked to some folks about forming the robotics team yet, or is this something that you're just starting off?
I've talked to the counselor, Miss Sweetland. She's really amazing, and I asked her around, and I also want to email my previous coach in middle school, since it was an all-girls robotics team. I don't know if you know Patrick Doyle, but he's really cool, and yeah, just getting into the motion, hopefully for next year, asking people around for me.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. The robotics program is probably the best program, I think, that we have it's an amazing program, so that would be fantastic. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for being willing to do this all of next year.
Really excited.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next on our agenda is the recognition of our retirees. Dr. Renda?
Thank you. So we do have 2 of our retirees here tonight that their principals will say a little bit about and recognize, but we do have 5 other retirees that were unable to make it that I would just like to recognize briefly. We have Shirley Richard, who works in food service at Laura A. White, and she's been with the school district for 26 years. Linda Kalpe, a science teacher at the middle school, and she's been with us for 16 years. Denise Smaraglia, an English teacher at the middle school, with us for 23 years. Elaine Nagara, art teacher at the middle school, with us for 31 years. And Corey Odell, a reading teacher, also at the middle school, with us for 18 years. So congratulations to all 5 of them. We wish them nothing but the best in their retirement, and hopefully they will take our calls when we are looking for substitutes. Principal Christie, would you like to start?
I like to embarrass Ms. Cook. I did promise her, she has a long theatrical history, and I promised her I would not make her sing or dance tonight. So today we're here to celebrate Ms. Cook, who will be leaving us at the end of the year, although we've convinced Ms. Cook to give us a few days at the start of next year to help us. So thank you already. And as Dr. Renda said, we will keep you on speed dial for all the openings we have at the high school.
Yeah, I'm not answering.
5 years, at least 3 to 5 years. So,
Okay.
so Janine started at Air Shirley in the early 2000s as an inclusion special education teacher at the middle school before she left for Gardner for a while, where apparently all special education teachers go to die. However, she came back to Air Shirley, this time correctly to the high school, no offense, Mr. Ulrich. Janine's a musical theater enthusiast. She's previously directed plays and musicals at several area schools, and in her retirement, I hope that Janine can see all the shows that she's missed while working full-time and perhaps return to the stage, where she must invite us all to cheer her on. Janine, I'm going to miss our many talks about singers, performances we love, and upcoming events we are dying to see. I will also miss visiting your room when I'm having a tough day to see you working with students, because it's impossible to be in your classroom and not be smiling. Thank you.
Sure. Absolutely. Only if you promise to post it on social media.
I have the pleasure of introducing Jan France. Jan has been teaching for 30 years, and there are probably so many more people who could talk more about it because I've only known her for a year. But I can tell you that in that 1 year that I've known Jan, she is direct, to the point, and no nonsense.
No.
She's also one of the most caring people that I've ever met. She gives 100% of herself to her students and their families and her colleagues. Last week we had our Panther Pride meeting, and I asked, we did a little presentation for Jan, and I asked all of the children who had been in Miss Francis' class to please stand up. And I think it's really powerful when you're an educator and you can see how many students that you've impacted, because it's not just about the class that's in front of you, but it's about all of the classes that you've had throughout the years. And those were just the last 6 years that were in front of us that day. And it was a lot of them. And I assured all of them that not only were they Miss Francis' students, but they were considered her kids. And she always considers them her kids, and she always looks out for them. So they had some wonderful little notes and cards that they had made for her, and that was really lovely. I feel so blessed to have had the opportunity to work with Jan this year, even if it was for just 1 year, because over the course of the year, I got to see her in action, and I got to see what she really does that makes a difference, and why so many parents and staff and children love her. So I want to take this opportunity on behalf of the Hilltop and the school committee, the students and staff and families, to say thank you. Thank you for all you've given, and thank you for all you've taught, and the times that you gave up your own time to families in need. And thank you for the money that you spent on the kids and the things that they needed. And thank you for being you. Be missed. She is going to come back and some next year, because I'm not going to be able to keep her on
Everybody, thank you very much. And I feel very sad when my good experienced teachers are retiring. I just see this experience and this wealth of knowledge and the communication that you have, and it's a loss. So I'm never happy. Thank you for being you.
Congratulations to you both. You'll certainly be missed. And Mrs. France, I will miss seeing you every day when I'm in the building. So I hope you enjoy your retirement, but I do hope that Bonnie's right and we'll see you subbing, because we will love to see you.
Same. Congratulations to you both, and thank you so very much for all the years of service to all of the kids that have come through your classrooms. You have had a truly amazing impact on so many kids. So thank you both for everything. Congratulations. So we have some time for public comment. Is there anybody in the room that would like to say anything for public comment? Michelle, anybody? Okay. Then with that, Dr. Renda, I believe you wanted to...
Yes, I was hoping to move the cell phone, item 11, under ongoing business, the update on the cell phone policy and recommended changes for next year.
So we'll move on to ongoing business and just subject A for the update on cell phone policy, recommended changes. Dr. Renda.
Thank you. I also have Principal Christie and Principal Ulrich here to really answer some questions that you may have after, but we had recently surveyed staff and parents about the pilot cell phone policy that had taken place right when we came back from winter break up until now. We have actually surveyed students, but that survey closed yesterday towards the end of the day, so we have not had time to analyze that. But we did get some really good feedback. Nothing that we thought was overly surprising, but we do have some recommendations that we would like to make for changes for next year that we would like school committee hopefully to support. But the key takeaways for that was that the majority of the respondents felt that the implementation went adequately or very well. I think we would agree that the implementation of it actually did go very well for us. The anxiety leading up to it did cause many phone calls and some parent meetings, but the actual implementation, once it happened, those phone calls, and I believe that fear, at least what made it to my office, pretty much vanished. The perceived impact, most of the staff believe that the impact was positive on classroom instruction, and there was a decrease in distractions and an improvement on focus for students. The parent feedback was a little bit mixed. Some observed positive changes, while others really didn't see or weren't able to see any positive or negative impacts around the change. Some of the common challenges that were identified through this, and actually we kind of had identified these before, but there is a bit of inconsistent enforcement across different staff members and classrooms. So we need to do something about that, and that's actually one of the recommendations that you'll hear soon. There is some increased phone visibility due to carrying them between classes. This is at the middle school. The middle school, what the policy was is that students could have them in their bag with them. They couldn't be out. And with the change now where they had to actually put them in the pouches, they actually had their phones in their hands a little bit more than they did prior to the policy. So we thought we might see some of this with the pilot, and we did. And though it did cut down on students sneaking phone use during class time or sneaking it to the bathroom because they were in those pouches, there was an uptick of the phones being in their hands during passing. Students are very resilient and find ways to circumvent rules. Part of that is they're now using Chromebooks to do some of the social media and the other means. And we also, and it's not on the memo, but there also is the use of dummy phones, right? So you take an old phone, you put it in the pouch, and you're keeping your phone in your pocket. That is happening. I mean, students are creative. It's some critical thinking there. It's smart, but we're going to have to be more on that. And then there was a little bit of difficulty enforcing the headphones and the electronic use for students who had different accommodations or a medical need for the phone. That's to be expected. I don't know if there's a fix to that, but we need to be a little bit more aware of who needs that, and honestly ask for a little bit more details on some of the magic notes that we get from some doctors. That is just something we often in schools get notes from doctors that are very vague, and we often feel like the Parents sometimes wear them down to get the note that they want to get. And the cell phone policy was really no different. We saw that like we see those notes in other cases. So we will be asking for releases and trying to talk to some doctor's offices directly when we feel that it may not be a legitimate concern. However, there are some that are documented medical reasons that are absolutely legitimate. And we know, even before we get the note, that it's needed, so we will make sure that we feel that there is an actual need to contact and make sure that we're doing that. But what's working well, there's a visible reduction in classroom distractions. We have clear expectations for phone use. Increased student engagement in many of the classrooms, and simpler classroom management when the policy is being enforced. So that is the key. When it is being enforced, the way that the policy is written, we are seeing management is actually easier. So on to our recommendations. For the middle school, what we would like to do next year is have students hand their phone-ins during advisory. They would stay in a small locked case for the day, and at the end of the day, we would have a small advisory at the end of the day, maybe 5 minutes long, where the students would go back to their advisory and get their phones before they go home. So we are looking to take their phones out of their hands for the day in the middle school. We would feel this would cut down on distractions, the inappropriate use during passing, trying to use it during lunch if they have it, and with the age range, we feel for the middle school it would be best if they did not have those phones on their person during the day. For the high school, really went well for the most part. Besides having to have a conversation with staff about the strict enforcement of this, and then the workarounds that students have, we're gonna have to do some work there. We're gonna have to try to figure out what those dummy phones and some of the other creative ways students are coming around this. But really our only recommendation for the high school, and this really isn't necessarily a cell phone policy issue, but we would like to essentially kick student mobile devices off of our Wi-Fi for a couple of reasons. One, it would further reduce the attempts to use the phone inappropriately, because as you know, there isn't great service in this school if you're not connected to the Wi-Fi. And two, it is actually causing us issues with the number of devices that are connected. So we often have trouble with connecting some of our Chromebooks and teacher devices when we have that many devices on our Wi-Fi. So that's kind of the summary of the information. The principals are here to answer any questions that you may have, but those are the summary of where we would like to go for next year.
On the aspect working well, you had simpler classroom management when the policy is consistently enforced. Is that just the principals working with the teachers to try to make sure that there's no variation from classroom to classroom, or?
Yeah, it really should be very similar the way that it works in classroom to classroom, or that it's actually being enforced, right? So if you're if you go into a classroom and you see 4 phones in a pouch, right, there's more phones, and there's almost certainly more phones in that classroom than 4, right? So we need, if you're consistent every day, right, making sure students hand it in, there will always be a couple, but the majority of kids won't try not to put the phone pouch in. As soon as they win that grind and you stop asking, then the management gets to be harder, because you didn't ask for it yesterday, you didn't ask for it the day before. Now it's Wednesday and you're gonna ask. They're gonna fight that. But if you consistently ask every day, and it's for 6 to 8 weeks, the rest of the implementation, like anything else that we do, will be easier from that point on. And the majority of it's happening in the majority of the classrooms. And for those that it's not, we need to have a conversation and give a reminder that this is a school committee policy and it needs to be enforced.
Did you have any feedback from the staff as far as why they're not implementing it? Was there anything that we could do to support them? or any other things they need that would make it easier for them to enforce it?
Not yet, but I'm glad you asked that because that is the next step. So we did not ask that question on the original survey. It was one survey that went to both staff and parents, and then they distinguished who they were. But that will be a follow-up just to staff of how we can help with enforcement of this.
Okay, perfect.
If I could jump in there, I would just say the recommendation for the middle school, I think would allow like some more consistency since they're changing class to class. I think some of that inconsistency is just tracking which kids like don't have in middle school. There are a fair amount of kids that don't have a phone, so like tracking who does and doesn't have a phone when you're changing every class can be challenging. But they're gonna have the same person taking the phones every day, so in homeroom, and then it's really easy. You know which kids have a phone or don't have a phone, and it can be really consistent about it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I guess I misunderstood because I thought that what we described here in the middle school was what we were doing from the beginning. Was because we had that consistent going back to the same room, we were taking them for the whole day. I would think at the middle school, particularly where one kid has a $600 phone and the other kid doesn't, then just making everybody on the same page, taking them and leaving them and then picking them up. There should be another positive element there that might be very interesting to perceive. But I thought that's what we were doing. They were turning them in the morning and picking them up in the afternoon. So did we vary from that for a reason?
Well, there was a lot of talk about that when we were designing the policy, and ultimately, because this was a pilot and we were trying to gain information, we had decided to keep the policy and the implementation the same for the middle school and the high school. But it was fairly early on we had realized we were probably going to need to make a change at the middle school level. But that is ultimately the policy that the school committee had voted on to accept was
here anyway.
Was the same for the middle and high school. It was not to collect it from the day. Yeah, but we are for yours, Zach. That's one of the reasons we're looking for that change now.
Good. Any other questions?
No.
So I'm clear. And this is a vote. Do you need a vote on the middle school policy and then a separate vote on high school, or?
I think you could just vote to accept the recommendation of the changes as presented in the memo.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I would make a motion that we accept the recommendations for the 25-26 school year regarding the cell phone policy as written tonight for the middle school and the high school.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Do we have anything from Chris, Michelle?
Aye.
Nope. Excellent.
They are here. We had asked them to come to be recognized for winning the state championship.
All those, any opposed? It's unanimous.
So the good news is we are ahead of the curve. It looks like the state will be voting on a statewide policy, which will probably be that we have to have a policy. Yeah, so it's great news. We're ahead of the curve. Thank you.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chair, we had asked for Mr. Kendall and thank you, principals. Appreciate it. We had asked Mr. Kendall and the coaches from the track team to come to be recognized for winning the state championship. So they are here for there's a sports banquet soon, so we are hoping we could squeeze them in if that is okay.
Only if they can give us an update on the middle school state meet going on right now. Yeah, there you go. Absolutely, of course. He's running right now. Yeah, do you want to do that?
Yeah,
now?
Mr. Kendall, whenever. Yeah. I think he's checking on that middle school meeting.
Oh, excellent. Yeah.
So quick, if people get back to me. Yeah, obviously, a great accomplishment by our track team. To win a state championship is incredibly challenging. No matter how good your team is, no matter how much you think you have a chance, everything has to go right on that day or a series of days. With the district championship and our boys team, correct me if I'm wrong, on this 50 consecutive dual meet wins, district championship and a state championship. And as you pointed out earlier, Kevin McCollum was presenting, every point matters. And all four coaches, although Chris and Andrew are technically the boys coaches, all four coaches coach everybody. So those points that kids got in javelin, which Mike coaches, made a difference. The points we got in pole vault, which Dana coaches, made a difference. the points in the pentathlon that Colin and Jacob got made a big difference, and I know Coach Seaman does a lot with that. So it's a team effort from the coach as well, not just from the 96 athletes, 52 athletes we have on boys track, 96 total. It's everybody working together. So I just want to bring them up here. Coach Kendall, Seaman, Donovan, and St. Germain. And I don't want to be remiss to forget some other people who helped out this year. Daniel LaCruz was a volunteer assistant who helped out quite a bit this year. Johnny Donnell helped out toward the end of the year. And then we had a couple other people, Alexa Harrington, a history teacher here, and Aiden Gormley also helped out quite a bit. Aiden Gormley Boyton, who's a para here, helped out quite a bit as well. So when I thought, so the coaches come up, anything you want to say?
Yeah. Colin, good one too. We got Colin Holbrook back again. Maybe
I haven't seen that from Colin, so
yeah, maybe one more athlete on the way. Yeah, thank you, Steve. He hit on a lot of it that it's a team effort. A lot of the teams we see, they've got one, maybe two coaches trying to cover all these different events. In order to win the big one, you really have to be in every event. It's really hard to coach every event. I don't know the first thing about pole vault. I know very little about javelin. I coach the jump. So like Steve said, it's a lot of hands on deck. And then credit to the athletes. This is one that we've wanted for a long time. It doesn't start like the middle of May saying, hey, do you think we can go in states? We had a meeting right in this room in March where we talked about our team goals, and every single kid wrote state championship, we can do this. We took them out to a team breakfast one morning before school, and it was the same thing when we left there. It was the ultimate goal is going to be the end of May, beginning of June, but you got to be there every day. So we've had teams in the past where you get the rare weekend practice, or we were here on Memorial Day, which I would never ever do. I want to be on the beach, but I figured we have states Friday, we got to be here. Every single kid I asked to be here, they were all here. They held each other accountable all season, and ultimately got to where they wanted to be. So, so credit to all these coaches, but also these athletes as well. Nice job, guys. I don't know if anyone else wants to say anything. Yeah.
I mean, as you know, I'm Andrew St. Germain. I grew up in Air, graduated in 2013. So this place is like my second home. So it's always been a dream of mine. Coach Donovan and Coach Seguin were both my coaches when I was here. So it's definitely like a full circle moment for me. Being able to, come back and, create my ultimate goal of winning a state title when I was a 16, 17-year-old kid in high school, and now being able to be led by such two great men who really shaped me as a child, which is why I love, giving back to the community of Air. And I wouldn't be able to do it without these two here, and the other kids that scored points, and not even if you didn't score points, the kids who supported us and were there that day and spent the weekend with us, and it's just been a great ride, and I still haven't came down from that high yet. It's awesome. Thank you. Anybody else? Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Is that your trophy for somebody was carrying a trophy type thing?
Yep, that's
What is it?
state champion.
Hold it up. Let's get it on camera. There you go.
And real quick, coaches and Steve, I, of course, had the pleasure of watching everything, not just this year, but every year. There's a reason we have almost 70 kids doing middle school track right now, right? You guys have built an amazing culture, and all these kids want to be a part of it. Really, congratulations. It was amazing to watch this season.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Mr. Kendall, can we look into ordering the same type of signs we did for, I know we haven't got them yet for hockey? All right, that's what I figured. Fantastic. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Yeah, might as well.
The girls are currently in fourth place down in.
Oh, excellent.
It's a third place. So they're
I might have adjusted in the last few minutes because live results have.
So they're cooking. Either way.
Coach O'Masri and Coach Pierce have done a wonderful job coaching that team, and above and beyond, because they went down to Bridgewater State for an hour on Saturday and got rained on and got sent home, and miraculously, because it's MSTCA, and a lot of times when the MSTCA hosts a meet, they don't make it up, but they did get to make it up, so they're down at Blackstone Millville today. I'm going to look quickly, but I'm going to guess one of our athletes did very well in the girls 100. So give me a second here to pick that up. Yeah, Broxy McKenzie came in 4th place in the state in the girls 100. So
Nice.
that's a pretty good result for her and for our athletes. So we're very happy about that. They're one of our 2 sports that are still going on. The other sport that's still going on is flag football. For the 3rd straight year, the girls have qualified for the state tournament. They'll be playing at Boston College tomorrow night. They're playing Greater Lowell Tech, which is definitely a winnable game in the quarterfinal. Team we beat twice last year. I mean, obviously it's a different year, but we know them pretty well. Should they win that, they'll, I don't want to make a prediction, but almost undoubtedly we'll be playing the top team in the state, which is Leominster, in the semifinals. But they'll play at Boston College tomorrow night, which is a great opportunity for them. And we're very happy for that program. Coach Lemieux's done a great job. I mean, we're by far the smallest school that competes. And granted, we have a co-op of Lunenburg and there's a few kids, but in terms of school size, we're the smallest school in the state that competes in flag football. At least competitively anyways, the smallest school. Or by far the smallest school that's left of the 8. To get there, we beat Westchester Regional, which is a school of 2,300 students. So it's an impressive win for us to get there. So they're the 2 that are remaining. I think the only thing that's new since last time I spoke to you was the girls won the district track meet and finished 4th in the state. So in addition to the boys winning, the girls finished 4th, and they were a little shorthanded that day. Maybe could have been a little higher if they had some luck go their way, but a great year for them as well. I don't want to shortchange them because 4th place in the state is pretty impressive. A couple new things for next year, not new in terms of sports, but new. We're switching registration systems from Family ID to Final Forms. After doing some research and talking to schools that utilize Final Forms, they felt, 1, it's a lot more user-friendly for parents and coaches, and 2, it's a lot easier for parents to register. And for me, it's a lot easier for Bill, it's a lot easier to track payment system there. So it's going to be rolling out hopefully Monday. The registration's open for the fall. We're very excited about, I know Bob's going to talk about summer projects, but one of them is realigning the gym in the high school to incorporate 2 JV volleyball courts so we can play JV 1 and 2 next year. Last year we only played JV 2 matches on the road. This year we'll be playing at home as well because we'll have the official courts that are painted on the side of the gym. So the main court will run this way, and the 2 other courts will run this way, and it's a great opportunity because that allows more kids to participate, which is great. Because at our interest meeting yesterday, we had 45 people show up for volleyball, which was far above what we expected. We were expecting like 36, so I don't know where these other 9 to 10 kids came from, but we're glad they're there. So our numbers are growing there. And that's about it on the sports side. We're looking forward to a restful summer and getting things going. Again, in the fall, we start up August 15th with football and August 18th with 16th with football and August 19th for everybody else. So it's going to be an exciting fall season, and I know Colin mentioned possibly winning another state championship, but I think our boys soccer team, put any pressure on them, but they certainly have a great chance with 14 seniors returning.
Oh, nice.
And when you're done, our banquet is going on here, and there's an ice cream social from 6:30 to 7, so please come in and have some ice cream and chat with some parents, and should have over 300 people here tonight.
Well, great job, Steve. Thank you so much.
Still think golf is still ongoing, right? We have a little golf trip coming up this summer.
We do have, that's true, I forgot about that, thank you. So we have our golfers have been invited to, because they won the state championship, and invited to nationals, which is down in Texas. Don't quote me which town it's in. It's going to be interesting because Tiger Woods' son is also participating in this, and we have 2 golfers actually ranked higher than him. So both Reed Onishan and Tommy Bergen, who will still get to play until he's a graduate senior, will play there along with the other players. And they've also been invited to play in a tournament down on the Cape. We just got that invite, so we're working on that as well. The benefits of winning a state championship there. And to win 2 state championships at a school this size is very impressive. So great job by all our coaches and athletes. And expect it to continue that opportunity as we move forward.
Right. How did the girls do? They started like their inaugural season, right?
Girls golf, they won 3 matches this year, which is a massive increase from the year before.
Right.
Much more competitive.
Right.
They all made it through. Last year was a challenge to go to the league meet and play 18 holes. This year was less of a challenge. So it's a growing program, and Coach Gubalini's doing a nice job with that.
Excellent. Thank you.
Good job.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank
you, Steve.
Come on down and have some ice cream when you're done.
Thank you.
All right. So moving back.
Actually, I do want to add one more thing before I see Bob reminded me, sorry. I really want to give a lot of credit to our custodial staff, Bob Drew especially, and Brian Philbrown, because they're out there all the time. The great job they did on the fields this spring was not an easy spring to keep the fields playable, and they did. And if you go out there and look, both the softball and baseball field look unbelievable, and that's a credit to Bob and his staff, and I always like to make sure they get credit for that because, you know, when it doesn't look great, they also take the blame. So they really should get a lot of credit. And a lot of times when it doesn't look good, it's not their fault. They can't control the weather, and that's a lot of time what happens. So they were outstanding, and I appreciate everything that they did. So I want to get that out there. Thank you for being here, Bob. So I reminded me I wanted to say that.
Hey, Steve.
Okay, so next up is review and approval of our consent agenda. Do I hear any motion to approve as shown?
I'd make a motion to approve the consent agenda as listed on the agenda.
Any second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Aye.
Thank you, Chris. Any opposed? The motion is unanimous. So on to new business. So facilities update and summer work on Mr. Bill Plunkett and Mr. Bob Briggs.
Thank you, Chairman Bresnahan. We've asked Bob Briggs to come this evening to update the committee on ongoing projects and scheduled projects we have for the summer.
All hard acts to follow. Now you're supposed to save the best for last and build up to that, but here I am. But here we go. So, back to the previous this school year, but earlier on, we're working towards finishing up the phase 2 of the Page Hilltop heating system upgrade. The win here is that this eliminates an old boiler, an old oil-fired boiler. We'll be going down from 2 boiler rooms to 1 boiler room. And that old oil-fired boiler had a lot of ancillary equipment that went along with it. Oil pump, condensate return pump, steam traps, all of that stuff will be gone. Sure. So this is a big win for Page Hilltop. On the safety part of things over there at Page Hilltop School, we added some push-button coded locks on some exterior doors. This was something that was talked about during safety committee meetings, and actually Dr. Renda, we wanted to get to the point where we had access control cards on that building, but we weren't quite there yet. But we found these push-button locks that did a really good job to get us to the point where we're going. So we were able to lock down the building where before we had to leave certain doors open so staff and teachers could get into the building for the first hour and a half of the morning. And then we would lock up. So now we've closed up that window of not being too secure by getting these push-button locks onto the doors. So that got done at Page Hilltop, and I'll get to Laura White next, actually. So we did 3 push-button locks at Page Hilltop, and we added 2 push-button locks over at the Laura White Elementary School for the same purpose, to enhance the security of the building. Over at Laura White, we did a lot of safety enhancements to the playgrounds. We did a lot of fencing repairs to the existing playground, existing fencing on the playground. We also added fencing at one egress area, and we added fencing to the playground field as well. And this was to help with any potential student elopements that could occur. Some of the school children, had a tendency to do that. We were aware of it, so we put some things in place to try to make sure that they were secure. And we got those in place. Along with that, those safety enhancements, we did door alarms on many of the doors where
kids could easily get out, and there was concern about, with the proximity of that building to like swampy areas around the building and proximity to the street. This would give a teacher or a para or an adult in the room a signal that somebody was opening the door and potentially getting out from the classroom. So we got all of those in place too, as well. Over at the middle school, we put some landscape boulders as bollards at the main entrance. We did that at the high school too. I'm sure you saw them walking into the building. Again, something that came from the safety committee, and I love the landscape boulders. I wasn't a big fan of having bollards in the front of the building, in front of the nice main entrance, but these fit in very nicely and they do the job. That was also funded by grant money that the school was awarded, so that was really good. We've gotten the card access upgrade in the works over at the middle school. We've got 3 doors done, and we still have 2 to go. We're going to resume that work after school gets out for the summer. Over there too, we just did a lot of typical maintenance type stuff. Victolic pipes on the heating loop leaking. We did some boiler section repairs over there. They've got 2 gas-fired boilers in the boiler room over there. And we had some trouble with some of the section gaskets failing, but we took care of that. Same thing with the gas hot water heater. Some of the ancillary equipment that makes the gas hot water heater operate failed. And we had our typical rooftop gas furnaces with inducer motors and things of that nature that tend to fail over time. So we had a rash of those types of things over the heating season. On to the high school, I talked about the landscape boulders out there out front for safety. Steve alluded to the baseball field rejuvenation that we've done out there on the infield. And we'll continue to do more of that now that the baseball season is over and we have time to get out there and get that done. We talked at an earlier school committee meeting about the hot water heater replacement that we did here at the high school. That's still running very well. We've had no issues with it at all. It's doing a great job. We did not replace the second one at this point in time. The single gas hot water heater is doing the job, taking care of everything. This next bullet item that I put down here is kind of an awkward topic, but we've had with the building, probably related to the age of this building now, we're going on 10 years, going into 11 years, we've had certain things fail, and it seems like we've had a rash of these things, small things that have failed. But one of them is a lot of toilet flushing issues. And the school here at the high school is fit out with automatic, electric, solar-powered flushing toilets. So it's amazing when you really dig into it and know, and that's the reason I bring it up. A lot of people don't know. But just to make these toilets work, number one, you've got a little solar panel on the thing that collects light and charges the rechargeable batteries that are in there, that operates a solenoid that happens when a motion detector sees somebody leaving the toilet. So there's a whole bunch of things that can go wrong with these things, and that's what's been happening a lot. My guys are getting pretty good at diagnosing which component might be the failed component by how the device is acting, but I had to talk about the toilets tonight. Along with that, we've had backflow preventers fail. Again, I think it's just time and wear and tear, but we've had a lot of those. People come in and check those quarterly, and when they fail, we have to get them fixed immediately, and then we have to have them rechecked again. But we've had a rash of those this year. And another interesting thing to bring up, in our science rooms here at the high school, you're probably familiar with these emergency stop switches that the science rooms have. If there's ever a small fire in a science room or signs of smoke or something like that, the first thing people do before they exit, or what they should do, is hit that button. And what that does is it trips relays that shut off a whole bunch of circuits of power in the room, along with the gas valves and everything. So we've had a situation with those where sometimes we've lost power in the building, and when these circuits come back online, the relays that are supposed to close and get all the circuits in the room functioning again fail. So we've had a couple of rooms where these occurrences have happened, and multiple circuits in the room would have no power. In some cases, power might be going to the clock in the room or the teacher's projector. But we've found out where to find these relays, and right now we've been able to bypass them to get the classroom back online. Eventually we'll have to replace those whole relay boxes out there. Very high in the electrical room, there's multiple boxes, there's several relays in each box. But every once in a while, when they reach close to send power back to the room, they fail. So we've had that happening lately as well. So moving on to summer projects, we'll be wrapping up the Page Hilltop heating conversion. There's a small amount of work left consisting of baseboard installations throughout the business office and central office, and some controls and piping to be tied in, and that'll be finally complete. We're going to continue with the card access control at Page Hilltop, Laura White, and MS. We will finally have card access control at all the buildings. And along with that, surveillance camera enhancements and installations at Page Hilltop, Laura White, and enhancements at the middle school for surveillance camera. A lot of good safety stuff happening this summer in the school district. Along with that too, there's new door intercoms with camera installations happening at Page Hilltop, Laura White, and at MS. These are where visitors can come to the door, ring the bell, and the camera picks them up at the door before they're allowed to come in. And then a big thing happening at Page Hilltop this year for moves. We've got a lot of grade level moves happening in the building, so we'll be heavy into that this summer too, where whole grade levels are moving to different sections of the building. And that kind of pretty much wraps up everything I have, Jim. Steve Kendall talked about the gym floor work that we're going to be doing. We've taken on a lot of that gym floor work ourselves recently in the last couple of years versus hiring that out to a contractor. So saving money on that end too. And I think that kind of wraps it up.
Bob, I just wanted to point out that the card access work is all grant funded as well.
That's awesome.
That's the school violence prevention grant, and there's another round coming up for next year. So a lot of good safety installations going in.
Yeah. The bollards, the card access doors, the cameras, there's going to be some exterior lighting. What am I missing? Is there anything else? We're able to send our resource officer to a school safety, national conference.
Yeah.
Happens to be in Las Vegas. But that's actually one of the requirements of the grant. We have to send somebody to that. So this grant, this COPS grant was crucial for us to be able to afford to do these changes. So it's been great.
Joyce?
Is the grant federal, state? Where's the grant coming from?
It is a federal grant. It's through the Department of Justice.
Oh, okay.
We are spending the money as fast as we can.
That's good. That's just where
Yes.
I'm going.
Yeah. And
Take it all out, put it in the bank.
It's a 3-year grant. We should probably have that money extinguished, I'm hoping, by next fall.
Good idea.
Will we be able to access any state retrofit money for possible roof at Laura White?
We could probably apply for the accelerated repair.
That's what we were talking about earlier on the way in, that since we're already in the queue,
Right.
if we could, we would have to talk to the town of Air too.
Right.
Because we got it in the queue for the elementary school, but if we wanted to.
We're not in the queue.
Oh, we're not in the
We
queue?
did not submit. No, so that
Okay.
should not be.
So we could go to an accelerated repair.
Right, right. I mean, clearly, what we have, I mean, it's secure now, but what we have is not going to meet the timeline we're going to need regardless, so earlier is better than later.
Yeah, we can get going on. The windows is not open, but they open that at the same time as they open up the building projects, I believe. Is that?
Yeah, I believe it runs concurrently.
So that
yeah.
would make, I would believe that would probably open up after January 1st. That's typically their timeline. But we can get going on collecting the information and starting that, which we probably have the majority of the information we need, because we were ready, our statement of interest for an elementary project was ready to submit.
Right.
So we have that, which is great because we can submit that at pretty much any time. And then if we are able to have the towns of Air, Shirley, and Harvard with mass development actually complete the needs assessment, which I believe that the town managers are working on. We actually had a meeting on that this week. That information would be exactly what we need to write that grant. So that would be a non-issue.
Excellent. Okay.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you,
Thanks for
Bob.
everything you do.
Yeah, actually, that would be great.
Summer off for you.
Make it very easy.
Yeah.
To do those examples.
And the funding.
Yeah.
Okay, next topic, FY24 ESSA Federal Grant Program Monitoring Outcomes Report. Mr. Caleri.
At the last meeting, I think Mrs. Bozek had presented a summary report regarding special ed, essentially a progress monitoring process. This year we engaged in 4 of these processes, 5 I think, Office of Language Acquisition, which is one that Ms. Campione or Dr. Campione had presented on, one for special education, one for all of our ESSA, our federal grants, titles 1, 2, 3, and 4. One for civil rights, and the one we're doing now is for our homelessness and foster students who are in foster families. And so there's a lot of audits going on this year. So I wanted to at least bring this report to you to share, because we went through, there was a team effort that participated in this process to collect all of the information to kind of show that we are meeting all the requirements according to the federal grants. And so this is the summary that basically says on all the indicators, we met all of the indicators that were expected, and we're essentially all set in terms of meeting our requirements for following through on our federal grant process. So at least wanted to bring it to your attention, to share with you. A lot of time went into this. Ms. Town, Ms. Rakup, myself, Mr. Mooney, a couple of other folks in the district to share like information and documentation and so on. To support kind of where the funding is going for titles 1, 2, 3, and 4. No action to take, just informative.
Very good to know this. Very good to have this in hand.
Mr. Cleary is wonderful at acknowledging other people who put a lot of work in, and I appreciate that, but he put a ton of work into this, and it was a lot of work. And thank you, because it is nice to know that we have fulfilled all of our requirements, because the alternative is not fun. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mr. Clary.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, new business C, approval of grants received to date. Dr. Renda.
We have 4 additional grants for the school committee to approve tonight. The first is from a 1-8 Foundation, Open Science Ed, for $37,500. This is for the implementation of the OSE curriculum in the middle school. The other is also a 1-8 Foundation, Democratic Knowledge Project, DKP. I'm sorry, I just activated Google on my phone somehow. For $8,500, and this is to implement the DKP civics curriculum in the middle school. We have a grant from the Department of Ed, FC 128, Safe and Health Learning Environments, for $55,000. This is for comprehensive health and physical education. And this is to implement the new learning frameworks from the state. And the last is FC 128 and / FC 211 prep grant. This is $24,910, and this is to support health, sex education curriculum in grades 6 through 12. Questions?
What types of things will the 8,500 be used for the civics curriculum?
That's for professional development. The materials is, most part, is an open source material, but it'll also fund some of the printing costs that we'll need for some of the materials, and it'll fund professional development for the 2 teachers who are, and coaching during the school year. The 2 teachers who are participating in the civics curriculum.
Okay.
And it funds Principal Ulrich to attend kind of leadership seminars, myself to attend leadership seminars on the same piece to make principals and leaders familiar with what the expectations are in the curriculum, to help support the teachers well, and then it also provides a network for the teachers to participate in throughout the school year.
Right. Civics is becoming more complicated by the day.
Very much so. So it was
like a small
it was good
amount for
timing.
what we have.
Yeah, it was good timing for the grant to be available, frankly. And we've been, as I shared, when you all approved the adoption of the curriculum, at that time, we had been looking for this for some time.
Right.
And so it just so happened it was like, hooray, thank you for the grant, we can implement, and we're excited about it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Is that the same, I had the same question about the science. Is that for materials for the classroom?
Yep, materials
and
and
training for the teachers, just trying to understand.
Yep, all the same. Materials.
For the teachers' training.
The materials are for the students, actually, for the science, Open SciEd. And in addition, there's professional development through the National Science Teachers Association that is provided to support the implementation of this curriculum. That's going to take place over the summer and also during the school year. So it's similar structure for the DKP as it is for the, I don't mean to throw all the acronyms at you, but it's similar structure for the democratic knowledge project, the civics curriculum, and for the science curriculum at the middle school. Training, professional development materials.
And if, since we're talking about acronyms, OSE stands for
Open Science
Ed.
Open
So is
Science.
this more investigative science that they're aiming for, not dictated?
Yes. Yes. We've been doing a lot of work on this at the middle school for some time in terms of our approach to teaching science education, making it more inquiry-based, making it more engaging for kids, making it more project-oriented. This is a curriculum that supports that and provides the PD to go along with it. So it's to be fully implemented, it's going to take us 3 years. So I don't want to say that this is going to be overnight. It's not. It's going to take a little bit of time. But the process is going to support like science the way that it's supposed to be done.
So will we be getting more grants applied to that direction in science? We'll be looking for.
The 1-8 Foundation is supporting a lot of this inquiry-based education, and we have been very fortunate. We have made close allies with the folks at the 1-8 Foundation, and they have supported a lot of the work that we have done in the district over these past 3 years. So the high school, the middle school, the elementary schools are all outfitted with Project Lead the Way now. So that's an engineering-based, inquiry-based curricular program. So that's from K to 12.
Well, we did have the report on butterflies tonight, so
yes,
that does it.
So that, right. So in addition, now we're building out the middle school to help support what science education should be. And then after we get the middle school going, then we'll push into the high school.
Thank you.
Sure.
We will continue with the grant work with Jay Mooney, but what's nice is that we're making sure we're going after the academic grants that follow the direction that we want to go. And then with the grant, like the COPS grant for safety, those are a little different because we're essentially submitting a proposal that gets approved for the work that we want done. So what we want to be careful not just to follow the grant wins and change where we believe the right direction is. And with Charlie working with, it is, and Charlie working with Jay Mooney, our grant writer, everything that we're getting is supporting the direction that we want to go. We are, I think Charlie would agree with this, at a fairly critical, we're at a critical mass with the grant management, which is a great problem to have. We're getting lots of grants. if we get more, we might be at the point where we need to hire someone to manage all of the grants. I mean, it is, and I think Bill is grunting too, because he has a part of this too. This is a wonderful, we'd like to have this problem. It's a good problem. But we're being selective, we're at the point where we can be very selective and only apply for what is going to propel us in the direction that we want to move.
Well, since we're for education totally in the world, then, you know, if we're select and pick what we need, that leaves something for maybe someone else to improve their stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a bigger picture there of there's only so much in the pot, and, you know, if we don't see something that really applies to us, even though we have it,
yeah,
then, you know, somebody else will be standing in line, I'm pretty sure. Maybe another. Are most of these state-oriented? Not
there's a mix of.
US-oriented? I'm saying
The
national.
1-8 Foundation is a private, nonprofit organization. So it's national, but it's not organized by the federal government, if that's what you're asking.
Well, that's kind of what I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, no.
We have a mix of federal, state, and private competitive grants.
Always nervous.
I'm sorry?
You always have to be nervous.
Well, when we get the money, we try to move on it.
Any other?
I'd make a motion to approve the grants as listed.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Chris. It is unanimous. Okay. So moving on, next we have the superintendent's report.
Hey, thank you. Not much for the superintendent's report today, but as you know, on Friday, June 6th was the high school graduation. There were 115 students who graduated that night, but we had a total of 116 students graduate. This included one student in an out-of-district placement. 23 of our students will be moving on to a 2-year college. 75 will be moving on to a 4-year. 2 of our students will be going to a tech or a trade school. 10 will be going to work or taking a gap year. 3 students, we're not sure. They have not informed us of their plans after graduation, and we have 1 joining the military. So very proud of all of our students. It was we shifted to have that indoors, but I believe the ceremony went very well, and our students who spoke and performed were, as always, fantastic. Earlier today, we had awarded the Don Parker Civic Leadership Award. This is an award given to the Air Shirley Regional High School junior in recognition of academic achievement, exemplary leadership in their school, and dedication to improving the Air Shirley Regional School District community. This year's recipients are Devin Gibbons, grade 11, Alex Hernandez, Troy Layton, and Kelly Peterson, who received their award earlier today. So very proud of those students. And we do have an update on the ASEF Impact Grant. We presented a little differently this year. It was a requirement for every school and department to have present an impact idea. This gave ASEF many more choices than that they have had in the past, at least since I have started as the superintendent. I would typically curate 3 that I thought were that administration and schools had presented, that were the 3 that we had thought were the 3 best. They probably weren't, so we had shifted, and we probably had at least 10 presentations, so lots of choices for ASEF. They have not made a final decision on that impact grant yet. However, one of our presenters was apparently very convincing, because due to the bequeathment from Lillian Johnson last year, ASEF has elected to fund one of the presentations that really wouldn't be the impact award. This is just an extra. And I'm actually going to shut up and let Mr. Cleary talk about that, because he was the convincing party.
So we presented to ASEF that we were looking to update the classroom libraries, because teachers are always looking for books to add the classroom libraries to really instill kind of this love of reading for our kiddos and trying to find books. A lot of times, most of our teachers end up whatever, when they're at Barnes & Noble, or when they go to the Scholastic Warehouse, or when they are seeing Amazon, or they get an email, they just order it. And they pay for it out of their own funds and whatnot, and they go to book sales, and they go to yard sales, and they go to libraries, and they grab books, and they bring them into the library, their classroom libraries, for kids to access. We wanted to, this has been something we've been talking about since implementing a new reading program. We wanted to continue to upgrade our libraries, and generous donations from ASF in the past had allowed us to add some diversified titles to our libraries about 4 years ago, and this was a chance to kind of add some more. We're doing a little bit different, so I had proposed that we wanted to give a little bit of the control, the selection process, over to the teachers, because they know the kids best, they know the grade level best, they know what the interests are of the kids best. And so this grant is roughly or evenly divided among 40 classrooms at $250 a piece. And so teachers are, at this moment, I already worked out this arrangement with Scholastic, and we also have it with Amazon if necessary, but teachers are selecting books off of a list from Scholastic, and they're picking the titles that they want up to $250, and then we're going to order them all, they're going to be shipped to them, they're going to show up in their classroom libraries, all organized and everything else before the school year starts. So we're kind of jazzed.
That's great.
$10,000 worth of books. It's great. Now, we are a little competitive with these presentations, and we all had different ideas of which ones would be picked. So I am thrilled that this is a very worthy one.
I am thrilled that I win the presentation.
Well, we don't know yet, Mr. Cleary, because that is not actually the Impact Award.
I may get some lunch out of it.
There is still one other. I'm holding out hopes, but we thank ASF. They're always very generous to us, and this year especially. So that is a $10,000 award, and then the Impact Grant will be another $10,000 award. So we hope they liked the way that we did that this year. We tried to treat them to some pizza and salad beforehand, and
butter them up.
I'm sorry.
It didn't work.
Well, apparently it did, because we got we're getting $10,000 worth of books and an Impact Award. So next year we might go to maybe lasagna. Maybe that will.
Cookies work really well.
Okay. Well, we'll see what we can do. But they're always very generous, and we really appreciate it. And so when they do make a decision on that Impact Grant, we will be sure to let you know about that and thank them again publicly. And we do have a ASF stamp for books. We might have to order another one, because there's going to be a lot of books to stamp, but we do want to stamp each one of those books so that students and parents know that that is coming from the ASF organization. And that is all for the superintendent's report.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Renda. We have already reviewed the ongoing business for the update to the cell phone policy. There are no chairperson's notes. Are there any other topics not reasonably anticipated 48 hours in advance of this meeting?
No, this time.
Go ahead, Jim.
I just wanted to, just if you get a chance to see Tina and throw her, the middle school graduation last night, very well done. Seamless, smooth. Everybody's all smiling. It moved right along. It never dragged. The speakers were coached and terrific. They really did an outstanding job there.
Yeah, it was great.
Joyce?
So I was going to say the same thing, but at the high school with it also. Obviously, a lot of good work was done. And with the opening speaker, the student, I think everybody should have just gone home, because no one was going to top that. So obviously, the bright stars that we have in both schools is really incredible. I took myself to Laura A. White for the art show, K through 5, excuse me, it used to be K through 8, K through 5. And the amount of work done for this presentation and raising kindergarten, 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade artwork to the wall with the description and the level of variety of stuff, not just people, was incredible. The place was packed. You couldn't get through the halls, and if you didn't trip over all the little kids who were so excited, they upgraded that with having a treasure hunt to find every picture, or to find different things in the pictures, and then they gave away prizes on Thursday as they awarded people who had all the answers. on both pages. So the parents standing there, many of them exhausted after working, you could tell, but they were there in full. And it was an extremely exciting night. That was not expected. I also went to the music concert at the middle school on Thursday night, and we have incredible amount of talent in these towns, and it was, I can't say it's worth the price of admission because it was free, but it was super. It was super duper and so well done, and the variety and the depth of the music was awesome. So what we have going on in these schools in arts, music and arts, they all go together.
And 2 state championship in athletics.
You talked about those already. We're talking about
no, they're just, it's
music
well-rounded. It's well-rounded.
Yeah, it's well-rounded. Yeah. So I don't think that you have in other districts the amount of work that those teachers put into these performances, basically. And it was very good, worth my time, and added to my personal exhaustion, but it was worth it.
All right. Thank you, Joyce.
Don't miss it next year, guys.
So I think Ms. Pinard has volunteered to cover our communications.
Okay. Thursday, June 12th, Laura White, grade 5 moving up ceremony at 1:45 at the middle school. Thursday, June 12th is also the 8th grade dance from 6 to 9, the Devon's Common Center. Friday, June 13th is the Page Hilltop grade 5 moving up ceremony, 11:30 at the high school. Wednesday, June 18th is the last day of school for preschool through grade 11. It's a half day. Dismissal times are the high school, 11:25, middle school, 11:15, Laura White, Page Hilltop, 12:15.
Thank you. With that,
I would make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Somebody want to put the time in there? I can't see it. It's got a
6:29.
on the clock.
all those in favor of adjourning at 6:29?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Thank you, Chris.